First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your First Alert forecast. 19 News starts now.
Cleveland police say a Las Vegas man speeding in a stolen car was responsible for a deadly crash on the city's west side. That man is now facing charges. Thanks for joining us first at 4. I'm Nicole Versansky. Brian is off today. 19 News reporter Isabella Roberts is following the new developments.
A stolen car, a deadly crash, and now criminal charges. 22-year-old Zaid Al-Amin is accused of causing the deadly crash on Lorraine Avenue near West 150th Street Friday, April 24th. Sergeant Diaz with Cleveland Police says Al-Amin was quickly taken into custody.
He was transported to the hospital, eventually released, and was arrested immediately, transported to the jail, and was charged with vehicular assault as well as vehicular homicide.
But those aren't the only charges Al-Amin could face.
The suspect in this accident had just moments before this had taken a vehicle from the area of West 130th.
Police say that's the same car he used to cause the deadly crash.
So the suspect is also suspected of a grand theft of a motor vehicle.
Al-Amin was traveling at a dangerously high rate of speed, changed lanes and slammed into 2 cars, setting off a chain reaction that involved 5 vehicles total. The impact sent 5 people to the hospital. One of those victims, 54-year-old James Cook of Fairview, later died from his injuries. Sergeant Diaz says this tragedy didn't have to happen.
This individual should not have been driving that fast, should not have been in a suspected stolen vehicle. So this is something that could have been prevented if better decisions were made by this suspect.
Al-Amin has been arraigned and his bond was set at $50,000. He will be back in court for his preliminary hearing on May 4th. In Cleveland, Isabella Roberts, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we are enjoying a little bit more sunshine mixing in with some of those clouds this afternoon, but get ready, there is more rain on the way. The good news for us is that rain will hold off through the rest of this evening. So if you do have any evening plans, right now everything is looking good to go. That rain chance will come together late tonight, headed into early tomorrow, and will eventually secure some pretty chilly temperatures for us for the rest of this week. So that's your First Alert there. Outside of that, though, it's a beautiful afternoon. We're really going to unfold to a pretty nice evening as well. You'll notice that west to northwesterly wind starting to settle in over the next few hours. That's a cold front that's making its way through, which is why you start to notice that general decrease in your temperature, but not drastic as we go through the next few hours. And again, things are going to stay dry for us, not necessarily tracking anything menacing with this cold front. But we do have some rain. This all courtesy of this area of low pressure basically down by the St. Louis area, and that will eventually arrive our direction as we head into the early hours of tomorrow. But as I mentioned, things tonight will stay quiet. I'll time out those rain chances hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
Disagreeing with somebody should not mean you get shot.
At the dog park ends in gunfire. Now one man is in the hospital and another is facing serious charges. But there are 2 very different stories about what happened. First at 4, Brittany Weir spoke with both sides to sort it out.
It's a place where people come to relax with their dogs. But on the afternoon of April 21st, a casual outing at this Bainbridge Township dog park turned into a shooting that left one man in critical condition.
Somebody got shot at the Centerville dog park. Hurts pretty bad, he says.
Okay, can he tell you where he shot at?
Lower back on the right side.
Bainbridge Township police say David Matei took his dog to the park that afternoon. His wife Sally says a conversation about politics quickly turned dangerous.
There was that old man, that's the suspect, and he was sitting with a man with a beard, and they had the newspaper out, and they were amongst themselves talking about politics and Trump. And my husband overheard them and interjected and stated what his opinion of Trump is.
Sally says after things got heated, the Marine veteran walked to his car. Matei noticed the suspect had parked right next to him with a gun visible on the passenger seat. Moments later, she says 80-year-old Emmanuel Matthews shot her husband in the back.
With the doors open, trying to get Bob situated, when the man shot him in the back. At that point, he did fall, but then reached, because the doors were still open, he reached in and grabbed his weapon and returned fire at the man's car.
Police arrested Matthews just a few blocks from the dog park. He is charged with felonious assault and pleaded not guilty. His attorney says Matthews fired in self-defense, claiming that Matei was the aggressor.
I believe that the facts as presented in the court will show that the other gentleman was the aggressor and remained the aggressor throughout the whole incident.
Matei faces a long road to recovery. His wife says the bullet damaged his spine and he may need spinal surgery. Matthews is due back in a Chardon courtroom on May 4th. In Geauga County, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
New video now from Westlake Police. What they say is an arrest in a road rage case. They say this man threw a hammer at a semi on I-90, but here's the twist. This is the same man wanted for felony vandalism. Cleveland police say the 51-year-old caused tens of thousands of damage at the Cleveland Convention Center and attached hotel several times. King Charles III visiting the United States this week for the first time as monarch. The long-planned trip coincides with an unusually delicate time between the United States and the UK. Michael Yoshida reports.
Pomp and circumstance as President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump welcome King Charles III and Queen Camilla to the White House. It's Charles' first state visit to the U.S. since ascending to the crown, and is part of celebrations commemorating America's 250 years of independence.
The soldiers who once called each other Redcoats and Yankees became the Tommies and the GIs who together saved the free world as brothers in arms and brothers in eternity.
The royal trip comes as Charles looks to steady U.S.-UK relations strained by the war in Iran, a tricky task because the king has no formal political role. Trump has criticized Prime Minister Keir Starmer's refusal to offer substantial military assistance.
The real challenge here is that the president has not just gone after policy differences with the existing British government and with Keir Starmer, the prime minister. He has gone after the fundamentals of the relationship by saying that NATO is useless.
King Charles then traveled to Capitol Hill to meet with congressional leadership and deliver a joint address reflecting on the two nations' shared history.
Whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect all our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in the service of our countries.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Now your 19 First Alert traffic update.
Well, if you're going to be in Lake County, then this First Alert traffic is for you because we have some serious slowdowns caused by construction that's impacting drivers on 90 eastbound from 306 all the way to 44. That's about a 7-mile stretch there. And drivers who are currently heading east on 90 right now are going just 22 miles per hour the entire time. So if you do the math there, that's going to be tacking on at least an extra 15 minutes to your drive, since that is going to cause you to be on the road for more than a 20-minute stretch there just from there. But of course, it would be taking you a few minutes to get there anyway, even if the speeds were better. So an extra 15 minutes is on tap for you if you're going to be heading east on 90 because of construction from 306 to 44. But as for the rest of Northeast Ohio, I'm only seeing one crash now, and that's still in Cleveland. This isn't on the highway, it's just on the side road. It's on East 31st Street over by Superior Avenue. However, we do have the usual bumper-to-bumper traffic filling up the freeway, unrelated to that crash, just rush hour, going around Dead Man's Curve there by 90 and the Burkett Lakefront, and you're still going to be a little slower on the brakes over by Chester. You're used to that.
Game 5 between the Cavaliers and Raptors is tomorrow at 7:30. It is now shifted into a best-of-3 series, and the Cavs are just hoping to take care of business at home. Ashley Holder is in Independence, has this report on Cleveland's mindset going into a pivotal matchup. I don't think any of us, Ashley, thought it'd be tied up 2-2.
Be more aggressive in the paint. That has been the message over the last couple of days for the Cavaliers as they prepare for what they call a must-win Game 5. And the focus is clear. Get Evan Mobley and Jared Allen going early. Cleveland's bigs combined for just 11 points in Game 4. But they were the difference in Games 1 and 2, and that's the formula the Cavs need to get back to.
Just reward our bigs. We've always had that kind of mantra, and we got to do a better job, you know? Get them on a miss, punishing the switches, getting them deep, in transition when they run out and get a mismatch, throwing it to them. They're both great in the pocket. Like we're not hitting them in the pocket like we did Game 1 and 2. So it's just shifting that mindset.
Despite dropping 2 straight and heading back to Cleveland with the series tied at 2, Harden says confidence isn't an issue, calling Game 5 an opportunity to take control while also owning the struggles, especially the self-inflicted turnovers.
If they're doing something that we just didn't understand what they were doing, or we can control it, or we just had no idea, we couldn't stop it, then it's a different conversation. But I think all the things that we're doing is self-inflicted, and things that we can control, things that we can get better at. You watch film, you go over it, you prepare yourself, you think about it, you do reps of it, and then you go out there and execute it.
Harden says it's all about staying even-keeled and cleaning up some of those mental mistakes. After a frustrating ending to Game 4, Harden says they have to be better, and they will be better. At the Cleveland Clinic courts, Ashley Holder, 19 News.
All right, as we head through the rest of this evening, we are going to be trending dry, but not necessarily for long. We've got another rain chance on the way headed into tomorrow. Some breezier winds will accompany that, as well as those cooler temperatures that we've been talking about for the last several days. So hopefully you've had a chance to enjoy some of the more mild conditions. Temperatures will gradually be dropping as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening because of a cold front that's making its way through. Now, it will not be a drastic drop off in your temperature. We're talking just a couple of degrees as you kind of go through the next few hours. Right now, most of us still very mild, sitting in the upper 60s to about lower 70s. If you are headed to the Guardians game, though, you'll start to really feel that cooler air settling in once we get to some of those final innings, because you're going to start to see that 50-degree air settling in, and that is going to be with us to stay for at least the next several days. Temperatures tomorrow morning eventually bottoming out, lower 50s across the area, and then we will eventually be back into the lower to middle 50s once we get into tomorrow afternoon. I'll walk you through those rain chances hour by hour coming up.
The collapse of potential peace talks with Iran means your gas prices just shot up again. More than 11 cents yesterday, which was actually the 6th largest single-day jump since 2005. However, in Ohio, the blame is not only the war. 19 Data journalist Dan DeRosa is here to explain that part of the story.
Unfortunately, we have 4 factors hitting our gas prices. That 11-cent jump yesterday, that was the national average. In the last couple of days here in Ohio, we've jumped some 30 cents, and that's going to be explained here. The first thing I want to talk about is price cycling. See this up and down. I keep forgetting to turn on my pen. I've got to do better at that. All these ups and downs that you see with the prices here in Ohio. This is the last 6 months, our average price in the Cleveland area. These ups and downs, these dips, these are called price cycling. Ohio is a state that sees this happen. Not every state has this. Think about your traffic corner that has maybe 3 gas stations, and they have to compete, and you kind of watch them move their prices down to compete against each other. That's when we get a down cycle. But at some point, they have to start making some of that money back up. That's when we get an up cycle. So now we have the war in Iran, and we are at the beginning of a price cycle, sending prices back up. $4.21 is the average in the Cleveland area. I spoke with experts with AAA today, and they say that the war, the price cycle, well, that's not all.
We are also at a time of year when we see higher gas prices anywhere. Refineries have switched to summer blend, which costs 4, 5, 6 cents more a gallon. It's more expensive to produce. And then we're also seeing demand go up as here is spring break travel season, and rapidly approaching is this summer travel season.
Might be asking, what is summer gas as opposed to winter gas? Well, remember, we have those really, really hot days. We get those ozone warnings that because of the hot weather, the gas that's used in summer has to have an additive. The refineries put in an additive. What's the first part of that word? Add. Anytime you start adding something to a process, the price goes up. As you heard, it can be 4, 5, 6 cents a gallon more simply for summer gas.
Caught on camera, a hot air balloon slammed into the side of a California casino. The rainbow-colored ride slides over the top of the building. Now, keep in mind, there's a person still inside the basket. Police say the pilot continued on, hitting a power line before landing safely in an open field just a short time later. The near disaster took place during the groundbreaking ceremony for a new hotel. Thankfully, though, the pilot was not hurt.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page joining us, unfortunately, after 2 pretty nice days. We've got some more rain and gloom and cold on the way.
Yeah, not probably the way a lot of us want to end April or begin May, but that is the cards that we've been dealt. So let's kind of walk you through when this next rain chance starts to come in, because if you have plans out and about tonight, for the most part, your evening should really remain quite dry. I think we're going to still enjoy a couple peaks of sunshine out there before the sun eventually does set shortly after about 8:15 in the evening, and then you will notice an opportunity for rain returning during the overnight. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you start to hear rain pelting your window, that is why. It's this next system that's going to bring us more widespread rain, I think predominantly through the morning hours tomorrow, and then you'll start to see some gradual clearing once we get into the afternoon, but we may not necessarily be completely done with the rain chances as we kind of get into the second part of the day, but that's for a different reason. We'll walk you through kind of this system here, because that is the one down by the St. Louis area that will eventually pass us actually to our south and to our east, but we'll be on the northern side, so we're going to be on the cooler side of this system this time around as we see just initially some clouds increasing tonight, but eventually that rain starting to fill in after 3 o'clock in the morning. So you will see that widespread rain risk. It's going to hold temperatures through the morning, at least into the lower to middle 50s. Once we get past noon tomorrow, you're going to start to see temperatures maybe even falling a couple of degrees, but seeing at least the coverage of rain becoming a bit more isolated for us during the second part of the day. I'm not saying we're completely dry. Once you get into Wednesday afternoon or even into the evening, I still think there's a couple spotty showers out there, but then your attention starts to turn towards what we call northwest flow, meaning you've got systems coming in from the northwest, and that will be our main rain feature for Thursday.
An 80-year-old Chagrin Falls man is accused of shooting another man at the dog park in Bainbridge Township this month. Emmanuel Matthews faces felonious assault charges. His attorney told 19 News the men had a political argument before the shooting, and his client fired in self-defense. Matthews pleaded not guilty and posted bond. The victim's family says he has had multiple life-saving surgeries. A busy night for police in Akron. 3 people were hospitalized after shootings. A 24-year-old said he was inside a car on Carlisle Street when he was hit in the arm and the chest. He will be okay. Now, a short time later, a 20-year-old woman who had been shot in the foot showed up at the hospital. Then around 10 last night, a 17-year-old was found shot in the neck inside a home on Alpharetta Avenue. There are no arrests. 2 men accused of murdering a Cleveland college student more than a decade ago pleaded not guilty today to new charges. That's Deontay Davis and Duwan Nettles are being held on $1 million bond each. In 2011, this is video. Brandon Cardellone, a Cleveland Institute of Art student, was found strangled in his Tremont apartment. Prosecutors say DNA evidence ultimately cracked the cold case. College enrollment has been declining over the past decade, and many institutions are struggling financially. More than 440 of the nation's 1,700 private, nonprofit, 4-year colleges are at risk of closing or merging within the next decade. That is according to a projection by the Huron Consulting Group. Some families are realizing some colleges just are not worth the money.
And so if you're paying $40,000 or $50,000 a year into something, you come out of college with $200,000 worth of debt, and your income doesn't go up any more than if you had not gone to those schools, that's not a good investment. So the fact that the market is finally starting to work and students and families are voting with their feet, that is good news.
Huron Consulting Group estimates 1.5 million students could be affected by the closings and mergers. Breaking at this hour, this video just in from some seriously bad weather in Arkansas. You can see the driver on the road when the winds carry a trampoline right by him. You can see the ominous skies, heavy rain, strong winds. This is Springdale. We're going to show you more of the weather there in just a few moments. Also breaking, federal agents conducted raids in the Minneapolis area today. A federal official says 22 search warrants were executed by the FBI and law enforcement agencies. Sources say most of the locations appear to be recipients of Medicare funding, including child care centers. The Trump administration has alleged fraudulent use of federal funding by Somali businesses, leading to a federal investigation. The fight over data megacenters is going on all across Ohio. Now, leaders in Cleveland are trying to block them from moving into town, at least for now. Catherine Huntley tells us what's at stake.
Councilors in Cleveland want to say no to massive data centers until they can better regulate them.
There's a real concern that one of these large, invasive data centers could be co-located within very close proximity to people's houses, which we're hearing from the community that is not something that they want.
We've seen the fight over data centers around our region, like in New Russia Township, where a proposed megasite was put on hold after massive community opposition. If passed, new Cleveland Council legislation introduced this week would put a moratorium on any permits, licenses, or review of any kind on data centers in the city for now. Councilman Charles Slife says while these data centers are huge, they don't employ many people.
They don't really create jobs of any meaningful impact for people in the city of Cleveland compared to a manufacturer, compared to even a light manufacturer.
Slife also says these massive data centers sap huge amounts of water and electricity, something that could place further pressure on a grid he says is already strained.
We need to take a pause. We need to kind of come to terms with this new reality and make sure that we are looking for a way to build our community in a sustainable way and not just giving away our real estate to people who I think have no discernible connection or interest in the city of Cleveland.
We reached out to the mayor's office about this new legislation. They said in part, the administration is currently reviewing Councilmember Slife's proposed moratorium. Our goal is advancing a balanced, sustainable solution that maximizes benefits for Cleveland residents. Slife says there's been lots of expressed outside interest in available land in Cleveland for these facilities. Councilman Slife concedes there might be a right size for data centers in Cleveland in the future, but for now he wants a regulatory framework in place before entertaining any offers. In Cleveland, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Erica, thank you. A tow truck crashed into the front porch of a home early this morning. This was on West 67th near Denison in the Stockyard neighborhood. It also had a car on its flatbed. Police got there just before 3 this morning. There was no major structural damage to the home, but we are reaching out to police to find out if anyone was hurt and to find out how this crash happened. Now to the investigation into the chaos at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. FBI forensic analysis is underway on electronic devices recovered at the Hilton Hotel and at the home of the suspected shooter. The Trump administration is now pushing for the president's new White House ballroom, calling it a national security issue. Natalie Brandt has details from the White House.
Forensic analysis is giving new insight into what transpired Saturday night outside the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Investigators say the suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen, raced through a security checkpoint and fired off one round of his pump-action shotgun. A Secret Service officer was hit in his tactical vest. That officer then fired 5 shots before the suspect fell.
He never got even onto the same floor as the president, and then the communication that happened down to the details and from the time the shots were fired till the time they were moving the president was about 12 seconds.
I just saw him running. I heard bang, 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 and he fell.
Air Force veteran Erin Thielman told CBS News' Matt Gutman that she saw the suspected gunman go down near the ballroom.
Doors were wide open, and I was very concerned because we had the line of succession for our country in the ballroom.
The Trump administration says Saturday's shooting is legal justification to restart construction on the president's proposed ballroom.
In a legal filing that President Trump posted on social media, the DOJ argues that Saturday's shooting could have never taken place in the new facility and that the project is required for national security.
It's critical that we get this project done as quickly as possible.
A judge put a halt on construction, saying the president needs congressional authorization.
If Republicans truly want to improve security, they should join Democrats in funding the Secret Service, not Donald Trump's luxury ballroom.
Democrats are calling for Speaker Mike Johnson to put the Senate-passed Homeland Security funding bill on the House floor immediately, more than 70 days into the DHS shutdown. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
More charges could come after a full ballistic analysis, including a federal charge related to the assault of a law enforcement officer. Now, for the charge of attempted assassination of the president, the suspect could face life in prison if convicted.